abysmal, your passing game, until Landon Collins went out of the game.
Here is what I took away from the game that really gives me hope. Dak Prescott did a great job of recognizing strengths and weaknesses.
Dak Prescott only got his passes completed for large yardage when Landon Collins left the game.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
Listen.
Landon Collins is the defensive captain of the secondary that was making that team hold up the way that they were. Don't tell me that you guys had 10 points when he was in the game, but all of a sudden you score more receiving yards and touchdowns than at any point during the game before that when he goes down?
Listen,
you're telling me that doesn't matter.
That's irrelevant to the point I was making. The point I was making is that on that long touchdown to Rod Smith, the pass, he recognized where the hole is and called the audible to get Rod Smith where he needed to be to make that touchdown.
But you're talking about the hole there. You're talking about a hole that may not even be there if Landon Collins is in the game.
Right, regardless of who's in the game, the fact that he recognized what's going to work before it happens.
I'm not willing to give him credit for recognizing a hole on a second string player. I'm going to tell you this right now. Dak Prescott is not as good as you think he is. He is not nearly as good as you thought he was from last season. Dak Prescott has shown, if anything, since Ezekiel Elliott went out, that he is not the quarterback you thought that was going to be the savior of your team.
Now, I feel like think
is he a second-year quarterback? I think it's a little early.
Regardless of the year, I thought something different of him. I don't think he's a Tony Romo type or Roger Staubach type that's going to sling the ball and win games. I think he's more of the Troy Aikman type that realizes what his strengths are and does just enough to win the game.
Okay, he's a game manager.
And I think he's very good at that.
That'll give you. Yes, he's never going to lose you a game. I'll give you that. He's not going to lose you a game. He may have bad games from here to there, but you know what you're going to get on a consistent basis.
He is,
and it's not necessarily you, but mind
he's a good chess player.
You have to understand that this isn't just you. This is Cowboy fans in general.
Oh, Cowboys fans are annoying. I know. I understand
that he is the next coming of
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Joe Montana. All of a sudden, wearing Dallas.
If anyone thinks that he is going to be the type of quarterback that's going to out-duel Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, then they're just wrong from the get-go. He's the type of quarterback that would rather run a power offense and recognize what he needs to do and just do just enough to make sure that he is helping the team win.
Oh, yeah, he's not a game changer.
He's not a Hall of Famer.
He's not a game changer, but he's a game manager in the sense that if he's balanced, he's good enough all around the board to keep you honest.
What I think I like that I'm seeing from him is his development into a passer. Because he's taking way more shots down the field than he did last year, and it's far superior to what I thought it would be. I know it's not great.
Partially it's out of necessity, but...
also, Des Bryant sucks.
Well, yeah, Bryant, he doesn't help your argument.
Bryant gets straight up bullied by guys that are smaller than him. Like, he's
soft.
He's soft. He and Demaryius Thomas are kind of similar players in that if you can bully them, then they're not going to have a good game.
Except Des Bryant's a giant.
Well, Demaryius Thomas isn't short either. I think he's 6'3".
Yeah.
And I know Bryant's, 6'4", 6'5"?
And he's built. Yeah. Des Bryant is more built.
Although he's right, because you're seeing that happen. You're seeing that happen with other people, too, because people are catching on to it, it seems like, with Amari Cooper. They need to get bigger. Yeah. They need to start forcing people around, because there's big boys who don't get pushed around. Look at Josh Gordon. He doesn't get pushed around. He doesn't care how you feel.
6'3", 225, runs a 340. He's a freak.
Here's the argument I'm making. Des Bryant is still a good
26.
Des Bryant
has been out of the league for the last 3 years.
But he scored his first touchdown since coming back.
Des Bryant is still a very good wide receiver, and a lot of teams could use him. But looking at the Cowboys, I see Terrence Williams as the number one receiver, not Des Bryant. I see Terrence Williams making the catches that Des Bryant used to. I see Terrence Williams making the smart routes and changing the play when he needs to more than Des Bryant does. Des Bryant, if he doesn't come back to the ball, he just stands there and waits.
Yeah, he's
Terrence
he's
Williams
a classic, just high point guy. You know, he's if he's got one-on-one coverage, he wants you to just chuck it up to him so he can go up and get it versus whoever's on him. But he's not as dominant as he was at doing that anymore. So his effectiveness is going down, and he's not someone that's, in my opinion, quick enough to transfer to the slot like Larry Fitzgerald.
The Des Bryant is what people feared back when Julio Jones was drafted. That he's not going to be someone that plays very cerebral, that he's just this guy who's just going to catch. And we were those people who had that thought and fear because he came from Alabama, which Alabama is a well-oiled machine, and receivers don't have to come back to the ball because the quarter. Yeah. So a lot of people were afraid that Julio Jones was going to be one of those guys that when he gets to where the ball is supposed to be to him, that he's just going to stay there. He doesn't. He doesn't have to because he's taller than like everyone else, and so Matt Ryan can just throw it up to him. But that's what Des Bryant is. That fear that a lot of people had that Julio Jones would do, Des Bryant does that. And like I said, as a Cowboys fan, someone who pays very close attention to the Cowboys, who has coached football teams before, who has broadcast football games before, who watches football every week, I don't look at Julio Jones. I don't look at Des Bryant as the number one receiver on the Cowboys. I look at him as the shared number 2 with Bryce Butler, which is pathetic because you're the superstar.
I mean, you watch a lot more Cowboys games than I do, so I'm willing to take your side on that. If I just feel he's getting older and probably doesn't have that much left in his career, to be honest.
No, he's probably on his last contract with the Cowboys.
Definitely with the Cowboys.
I'd be fine seeing him leave.
Yeah, if I were the Cowboys, I would not be re-signing him
unless we can get him cheap. I mean, if you can get him for like $1.5 million a year, sure.
Which is not gonna happen. Someone will shell out a little bit extra.
Yeah. So we're gonna continue. Oh, actually, really quickly, Giants looked absolutely terrible. Eli Manning threw 2 interceptions to a bad defense.
Your boy on the line though, whose name is slipping my mind right now.
Tyron Smith, La'el Collins. On the Giants?
No.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence.
He's a Pro Bowler.
He's killing it. He is absolutely
who
you should build your defense around.
No. Maybe simply because of age, but the undoubted leader of that defense, best player on that defense, is Sean Lee. The difference between
when he plays.
The Cowboys with Sean Lee this season, a top 15 defense. Cowboys without Sean Lee, bottom 5. It's crazy. Crazy just how bad this defense is without.
I think the Giants did exactly what they were supposed to do this weekend. If it wasn't for the Browns blowing it, everything would have gone to plan. Sure.
No, I still...
Are the Giants going to draft a quarterback, do you think?
Yes.
First round?
Yes, they are.
They're probably going to have to.
Yes, because they're refusing. They're refusing to see what Davis Webb is. At this point, they are sabotaging Davis Webb.
I don't know that they're sabotaging.
Is he...
He hasn't even gotten a snap with the first team in practice.
Yeah, but this is also a team that doesn't have a head coach anymore. So, I mean, how much development can you expect to be doing when you basically just imploded the front office?
The offensive coordinator's still there.
Yeah, because that's been going swimmingly.
It's a good point.
Not to mention, I don't want Davis Webb going out there. If he is anything good, I don't want him going out to basically a dam that's got a bunch of holes in it. Just for him to get soaked.
But do you see the Giants getting that offensive line any better?
It can't get much worse.
I mean, it might.
It could, but that seems very difficult to do.
Justin Pugh leaves. It gets worse.
It could get worse. There. But the thing is, you'd have to have him leave, bring in somebody worse, and then not do anything else during the offseason. That seems highly unlikely.
The Giants have decided to move Jason Pierre-Paul to left tackle.
The only way that that's going to happen is if we spend like our first 3 draft picks on wide receivers.
Which is going to happen.
No,
No,
anymore,
it's not.
because we got rid of Jerry Reese, so we won't piss away draft picks.
Oh, man.
Saving grace was Odell Beckham. Really? I could have made that pick.
Anyone could have made that pick. Let's continue on. Bills 13, Colts 7 in the Snow Bowl.
That was a fun game to watch because
You couldn't tell who was where.
Yeah, it looked like they were basically on Hoth. Like I thought some AT-ATs or maybe a or something was going to come out of the snow and just start shooting lasers.
It's a marshmallow world in the football
certainly
field.
Enjoyable to watch. I love watching snow games.
Yeah.
Sean McCoy always seems to beast in snow games for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because they're running every play.
Yeah, but he seems to thoroughly enjoy it.
Because he's a kid. He's a big
I
kid.
read that Vinatieri might lose out on a
$500,000 bonus.
Yeah.
I would be furious if I was him. I'd be like, Coach, should have gone for it anyway.
Well, in all fairness,
they did go for 2, got it, and then a bogus pass interference penalty.
Well, pick play that it took the refs a second to realize that it was a pick play. And then they're like, hang on.
Yeah, but I think it was still basically on the line of scrimmage.
But you can't run a pick play. You can't have a wide receiver running in and hitting into a cornerback and stopping him from going to the defender. I mean, you can't just deliberately stop in his way.
in all fairness, on
It was certainly late.
on that $500,000 bonus, and I just learned this, he's going to get taxed 42% on it anyways. So it's not like he's going to make much money from it.
Did anyone happen to catch
$275,000?
the was it? It might have been the first Vinatieri. It must have been the first Vinatieri, or it was the overtime attempt. But the Colts at one point sent out all of their water boys with water.
Yeah,
and they started kicking the snow off.
Yeah.
And the refs walk up and they're like, "Get out of here!
I think they're
can't
getting fined.
do that."
I think they're getting fined for that.
That's great.
They're like, "What are you bringing water out here for? That's a frozen bottle in your hand. Beat it."
That's great. I love that.
That's a WTF
hilarious.
moment. Well, that's football.
We'll get to it.
Hilarious.
Yeah. The next game, Panthers and Vikings. Panthers 31, Vikings 24.
That was a good game.
No, it wasn't.
It was a good game.
It actually was a good game. No, I didn't.
Second half was a lot more entertaining because the Vikings actually showed signs of life. Despite my criticisms of Case Keenum, I don't think this game warrants bringing back the Bridgewater conversation. Keenum wasn't great, but
he had 1-to-1.
He deserves to hold on to it still.
He had a 1-to-1 ratio, right? 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, he still
he came back a lot better in the second half. They started off really poorly, but on both sides of the ball, the defense wasn't stepping up like they normally do, and Cam was playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
They also looked like they were a little out of it. I don't know if it was being on the road or whatever have you, but Minnesota didn't look like they were clicking. But first half and second half are completely polar opposites. If the second half had to be played, if both teams played with the same consistency as the second half was, I bet you that game's a 1-point game.
Yeah, that was and the score is reflective of like what actually happened. You know, Panthers. It was a tie game, and then Cam had like a 70-yard run to just pretty much clinch it.
Which he could,
crazy.
We've seen him do it, so that's not overwhelmingly surprised.
Yeah, no. Cam Newton is playing like an MVP now that Carson Wentz might be hurt.
First 4 games, he was playing horribly. And
I benched him on fantasy and traded him away.
He's been playing much better.
Wish I didn't trade him away and just kept him in Case Keenum. Or not Case Keenum, Carson Wentz. Because now I have no quarterback because Josh McCown got hurt too.
Yeah.
But anyways, probably one of the biggest surprises of the weekend was Bears 33, Bengals 7.
Bengals suck.
Bengals are
They're really bad.
Yeah, they
Jordan
are.
Howard ran all over the Bengals defense. Like I mean, he was the guy. Trubisky played well, but that's not really... Well, I say that's not saying a lot, but then you see the